Hey everyone, this is Zircon, and today I'm going to show you a behind-the-scenes look at my remix from Super Street Fighter 4, Time to Oil Up, featuring my wife, Jillian Aversa. My goal with this remix was really just to have fun, not necessarily to be accurate with the whole Turkish style, but just to sort of call to mind the Turkish style and combine it with synthesized instruments. So the first thing I wanted to show was stuff like this, the opening pad. So for example, this is actually two sort of ethnic sounds right off the bat. The first one is called Bursting Aura from Omnisphere. And it sort of sounds like a sitar tremolo with a lot of reverb. Then the other one is a sort of a didgeridoo pipe drone. So that stuff is pretty cool, and a lot of the song has synths from Omnisphere. And you can hear, for the purposes of this video, I actually unmuted the original synth track that I had for the vocals. This was sort of my idea of what they should sound like. And you can hear I used, pitch bend and the mod wheel for vibrato on this. And here's a little bit later. So the sound of this is actually based on the Prodigy song Smack My Bitch Up, which is one of my all-time favorite electronic tracks, and it has a great Middle Eastern vocalist in the middle of the song, and it's really one of the most exciting parts of it. So that's what we were going for here with that. Anyway, I'm going to mute this for now. Especially the end of that vocal phrase there is really a lot like Smack My Bitch Up. So anyway, some of the ethnic instruments being used here. This is an oud from Hans Zimmer guitars, one of my favorite patches. And then this is kind of being layered with, we have just some soft pads throughout the song. This is from Zebra here. Hakan pad, aptly named. And then there's this Psytrance synth, which is basically just saw waves pretty much with the low end cut out. And then as the song progresses, it goes into this next part here, the chorus. So this lead here, we have the Psytrance drums, we have more synths going on, but this lead is actually a perfect example of what I'm talking about. So that's the synth, and besides that, there are actually 6 layers from Omnisphere, Quantum Leap Raw, and Hans Zimmer guitars. So just to turn off a couple of these, we have, that's an oud from Raw, a Santur, Omnisphere, which is, oh, right. This kind of chiffy instrument from Omnisphere, which is just a psychoacoustic thing that they made up, so that's not a real instrument. And a saz. So none of these by themselves are actually all that amazing, but the combination, and then when you add the synth, has that exotic sound, and with all the reverb and the delay and the sort of the pitch bends and the modulation, it all sounds pretty good when it's combined together. And then later on, there's sort of a variation on that lead, which takes out some of those instruments and adds a hammered dulcimer, as well as a square wave synth pitched an octave lower. Now this next section in the original is actually sort of the B section or bridge, and here it comes pretty early on in the piece. Now I thought that section was a lot of fun to work on because, first of all, it's very dramatic because of the ascending chord progression. So you have this sort of deep, detuned lead sound from Omnisphere going up. Two different acid synths. There's the Psytrance synth and the pad from earlier. This is a sort of, it's a custom zebra patch. It's sort of a variation on a 303 with filters and phasers involved to give it that whooshy effect. So there's that stuff, but then there's there are these little sort of stabs from the lead sound that I made earlier, plus you can see that this is kind of an interesting pattern. The lead instrument here is a Zorna, which is a Middle Eastern instrument, and then down here is just a square wave kind of playing arpeggios. And like I was saying earlier, I'm a big fan of those kind of, the rhythmic sounds to add interest in the background. We also have this is a collection of patches from East West Raw and Storm Drum, with a little bit of deep blue glitch on top. There's that arpeggio from earlier. And then the drums are pretty much the same. The next section is sort of like the B section in this piece. So it's a lot of fun. And actually here, I had that muted, but that's the lead sound, which is, I really like doing this kind of lead that's sort of doing counterpoint with the chord progression in the background. So you can hear sort of the interplay between the notes there. And down here is the sort of the accompanying ethnic layer. And this is similar to the first one, except it's playing in octaves, and I added a tremolo oud sound instead of just the normal oud. And you can really hear that on the sustain. It adds a lot, I think. Anyway, as the song progresses, this is actually quite possibly my favorite part. I think it's a lot of fun. The ethnic instruments are becoming louder. You have this descending piano pattern. Now I think that's a cool scale in and of itself, but listen to what happens here. That's actually the piano, that sort of twinkling sound, and what does that is a plugin called FM8 Effects. So what this does, the cyc delay effect within FM8 Effects, is it basically makes pitched delay copies of whatever's being played. And I'm just automating this into the mix. So piano pattern becomes this kind of gorgeous sparkly pad. And I think that's, that's pretty neat. In addition to that layer, there's also two Von throat singers from Omnisphere. That has nothing to do with Turkey, but again, it adds to the sort of the ambience of the piece. And then as this section progresses, there's a big drum breakdown, which took me a while to program. If you look, this is a ton of different drum layers, all Storm Drum and Quantum Leap Raw. So I played a lot of this in live, and then I also sequenced some of it. The ending part is actually pretty cool. You don't get to hear it much because of the high pass sweep. So it's really dramatic stuff. It's a lot of fun because you have the piano, you have the Psytrance synths, drum roll, you have the kicks hitting, and then, of course, the lead sound here.